You want me to help around the house too? You expect me to work both at the office and at home? And you're living comfortably thanks to me. What? What era are you from? I was taken aback. I do appreciate for everything my husband does, but I'm working all day too, taking care of the house and caregiving. And yet... You talking back to me? Write up a divorce paper and get out. I knew it was a bluff. He thought I'd never leave his mother behind. I was at my breaking point. Everything we had built was falling apart. To him, I was just a free maid. No way I'm spending the rest of my life taking care of this man. My name is Molly, 52 years old. My daughter has moved far away, and now it's just my husband Brian, his mother Sarah, who has mobility issues, and me. Brian has become increasingly arrogant with his age. He orders me around like I'm just a maid. Sarah had a stroke and needs help because she can barely move one of her legs. Right now, I help her bathe and use the restroom, but it's just gonna get more challenging from here on out. I'm not fed up or anything, but I do sigh sometimes. When will I ever have time for myself? Molly? Sarah called out. What is it, Sarah? Can I ask for a favor? She looked apologetic. She had trouble with the steps. She could move around inside the house with a cane, but the steps were dangerous for her. I didn't want her to get hurt. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, and I'm sorry. Don't mention it. Before her stroke, she was always on the move and very independent. She taught me everything about household chores without a single complaint, despite my poor memory and slow learning. Helping her out when she's in trouble is the least I can do. But last night, I had to help her to the bathroom 3 times. With my menopause, once I wake up, I struggle to get back to sleep and I feel exhausted. When I told Brian about it, he replied indifferently, "Oh, okay." It's about your mother. Don't you have something better to say? What can I say to improve the situation? Just let me know and I'll say it. I was astounded. He's missing the point. I want to have handrails at the entrance and restroom installed for your mom. What? Nah, we don't need them. You're home to help her out, so we don't need them. But they're expensive and an eyesore. Doesn't he realize that he himself might need them someday? Seeing my dissatisfaction, he suggested, "If you're going to complain, why not hire a professional caregiver?" I'm not complaining. Besides, we can't even get caregiver approval. Well, just apply for it then. It's not that easy to get approved. I mean, she can still manage daily activities on her own. Then what's the problem? He has a point there, but that's not what I was getting at. He wasn't like this before, but now he's so self-centered. I guess it's unrealistic to expect sudden empathy from him. It's futile to hope for concern from someone who doesn't even feel for his own mother, despite her difficulties. 3 days later, my fears came true. Sarah tripped and fell, hurting her dominant hand, which made everyday tasks challenging. I had to care for her constantly, yet Brian didn't lift a finger to help. He ignored the mounting dishes and laundry. I wish he'd help, even just temporarily. He has always been hands-off with chores and parenting. He showed no interest in our daughter's school events. He even avoided getting close when she was sick, saying, "Don't give it to me." If I pushed myself too hard and collapsed, it would also cause him trouble. The house would fall into disarray and Sarah would feel guilty. Even if we managed this time, something similar could happen again. It makes more sense to expect that. I mean, we're not getting any younger. We need to support each other moving forward. So, yeah, I'd like you to help with the housework. You don't have to start cooking meals or anything right away, but maybe you could fold the laundry or clean the bathroom? What? You could take out the trash when you go for a walk. He really should have noticed this himself. I wonder why I have to be so humble about it. Still, I asked with a smile. Okay, then you could prepare your own breakfast, maybe just some toast and coffee? Just start with what you can, you know? I felt stupid even asking him this. It was like I was talking to a child. But hey, if it even slightly reduces my workload, it's a win. My husband's face showed dissatisfaction. What exactly is bothering him? How else could I ask him? Just then, he said something unbelievable. Are you kidding me? What? I'm not kidding. You know what's going on, right? You're telling me, the one who brings in the money to help with housework. You're just a housewife. How can you be so demanding? Demanding? I resent that. Were you even listening to me? He dramatically held his head and let out a deep sigh. You want me to work both at the office and at home? That's not how I put it. You act like a devil of a wife, living comfortably all thanks to me. His harsh words left me feeling frustrated, thinking that a housewife is somehow inferior. What century is he from? I appreciate that you work, but I work all day too. Whoop-de-doo. Do you really think your housework and caregiving have any value? Yes, I do think they have value. If I weren't doing them, you wouldn't be able to go to work. Anyone could do what you do. You're an amateur, not even a professional. Excuse me? If you still want to talk back, write up a divorce paper and get out. I was speechless. There are things you should and shouldn't say, even when you're angry. Brian smirked, seeing my shock. It seemed he wasn't serious. He was just threatening a stay-at-home wife like me, knowing well I wouldn't abandon his mother. Anger welled up inside me. Fine, I'll do as you wish. Something inside me broke. Everything we had built was falling apart. It seems I've reached my limit. I'm divorcing you. What? I'm going back to my parents' house. What? Hey, I won't allow it. Apologize first. He demanded, but I responded calmly. There's no need to apologize. You told me to leave, right? So you're just gonna abandon my mother just like that? If amateurs like me aren't good enough, why not hire a professional? That's what you suggested. Professionals cost money, you know. There. I was just a free maid to him after all. My feelings for him grew colder and colder. You could do it. After all, it's something anyone can do, right? Well, who do you think you are, showing no compassion or gratitude? Don't push your luck. Huh? What's gotten into you talking to me like that? He asked with a twisted face, but I didn't respond. No way I'm spending the rest of my life taking care of a man like this. I packed my things and left the house. It's a 2-hour drive to my parents' house. I soon became calm, but worry for Sarah consumed me. Would she be alright without me? I'm worried she might overexert herself with her bad leg. I should have gotten her a cell phone so we could talk directly. Brian had said it was too expensive and unnecessary. What a petty guy he is. I couldn't believe he would actually neglect his own mother, but the regret would be unbearable if something happened to her. But returning home now would just repeat the same cycle. He knows me well and probably thinks I'll come back soon. I can already picture his smug face. It's frustrating. It makes me angry. I pulled over at a convenience store, wondering what to do when my phone rang. Hello? It was a call from someone I saw every day. The content of the call was surprising, but I didn't need time to think it over. Understood. I'll be there right away. Please wait for me. No more doubts. Let's make him truly regret this. Hours later, I found myself in my favorite apron, cooking dinner in the familiar kitchen as usual. Sarah was watching the evening news in the living room, just like always. Brian noticed me, and he yelled out, "Hey, what are you doing?" "What does it look like I'm doing? I'm cooking, making dinner for Sarah," I replied nonchalantly. "You came back after all. It was just a few hours away from home. Did you realize your mistake? You must have felt lonely." I just kept cooking in silence. "You're a stranger now that we're divorced. You should have apologized to me before coming back." Annoyed by my silence, he grabbed my shoulder and snapped. "Are you listening?" Calmly, I said, "Assaulting a stranger is a crime, you know." "Then you're guilty of trespassing." "I'm here on business." "Business?" "Yes, your mother hired me to do household and caregiving work." "What? Is that true, Mom?" Sarah explained. "I called her and asked for help." "Why would you do something like that? She's a stranger now." "What are you talking about? You were the one shaken up when she left." No, I wasn't," he stammered, his face turning red. Sarah smirked. "Since she's a stranger, I have to pay her properly for her services." "What? Pay her?" Why was he so surprised? It was his own fault. After I left the house, he told his mother, "I won't help you around the house. Think of it as part of your rehab. You need to move around or you will end up bedridden." As expected, he wouldn't actually hire a professional caregiver. Eventually, he declared, "I'm tired," and locked himself in his room. That's when she decided to give up on him. It was a wise decision. Then she called me. "I don't want to interfere in marital issues, and I'm not against the divorce," Sarah said calmly, without blaming me for leaving. "But I am upset by my son's arrogant behavior and his lack of effort." "Yes." "Molly, can you help me with something?" "What do you need?" "I'm thinking it's time to teach him a lesson." "You mean to discipline him strictly?" "Yes." Since her stroke, Sarah had become more reserved, but now she seemed lively for the first time in a while. Perhaps she had been gathering her strength. "You must be fed up after all he's said and done." "Definitely." "Leaving can wait until after you've had your payback." And so I was hired to do household and caregiving work for as long as she felt necessary. The payment would use up all her secret savings. Brian trembled as he protested. "That's ridiculous! It's a ripoff!" "Oh, but that's the amount I decided on," she replied. I nodded in agreement. "Mom, she left the house because she couldn't handle the housework and caregiving." "Really? I couldn't handle the housework and caregiving? That's rich coming from him." "I absolutely will not pay." "Well then, since there's no work for me, I'll be leaving." Sarah quickly stopped me. "That would be a problem. Then who will do the housework and help me?" He couldn't say he would. Of course not. All he does in this house extends to eating the food prepared for him, using the bath drawn for him, and sitting back to complain. Nothing else. Sarah glared at her son. No matter what you say, I want Molly to take care of me. I've given her my savings to use as she sees fit. I'm grateful for that. First, I'll buy a cell phone for you, have handrails installed throughout the house, and I also want to get the caregiving bed you've wished for. No, that's my money, Brian protested vehemently. Sarah then frowned. What did you say? Say it again. I'm saying it's a waste. It's my money that's getting spent. She was speechless with disbelief. What's with your face? I'm only speaking the truth. Her savings were his money? He's like a typical bully who thinks what's yours is his and what's his is his own. He would abandon the caregiving of his mother who raised him, yet claim, it's my money? It's a waste, you said. She repeated in a tone I had never heard from her before. I see how it is. I've been patient because I didn't want to become a nagging old woman, but I've made up my mind. I'm going to speak my mind clearly. What do you mean, Mom? You're pathetic. What? You have a big attitude and no gratitude towards your family, always thinking everything will go your way. Seeing a grown man flustered by his mother's scolding was indeed pathetic. When did you become such a person? Calm down, Mom. I haven't changed from the old days. You might have forgotten, but I haven't. You haven't forgotten what? When I was struggling with my tyrannical husband, you were always there to protect and help me. I was happy then, thinking that was the real you. Or was that just an act for the inheritance? 10 years ago, my father-in-law, who has since passed away, was an absolute tyrant. He was the epitome of a stubborn and selfish old-fashioned father. My husband often endured his unreasonable beatings. In his younger days, he even raised his hand to Sarah and would routinely throw and break plates when angry, as if it were nothing. Just thinking about cleaning up after that gives me chills. Since I married into this family, I've been called slow and useless more times than I can count. Brian always hated his father for this and protected us. He used to be kinder back then. His father was even stingier than he is, vowing to take his wealth with him to the grave. We thought it was a joke, but he wrote a spiteful will saying he wouldn't leave a penny to his son because he disliked his defiant attitude. As the eldest son, my husband felt his pride and patience trampled on and was outraged. Of course, he had the right to claim his compulsory share, but it felt odd to demand it from his mother, who lived in the same household. Brian, the property in your mother's name will eventually be yours. You don't have to claim it now. I told him at the time, and that settled it for the moment. I never thought my husband would step into his shoes, given how much he disliked him. He probably wanted the dignity of a family head for a while, got a taste for it, then found it too comfortable. Or maybe it's true what they say about the apple not falling far from the tree. I know you are a kind son, Sarah said. Are you really going to be happy after losing Molly, leaving me bedridden, and then burying me? Seeing the troubled look on his mother's face, my husband was shaken. He looked at me for help, but I didn't soften my stern expression. Now is his chance to change. Mom, forgive me. She nodded quietly. That's good. You're still kind, not like your father. He then glanced at me. Oh, Molly, I'm really sorry, he said, genuinely apologetic. I was surprised by his honest apology. Does Sarah have some sort of mind control ability? I said, it was shocking to be asked for a divorce. You have family. You can't say such things so easily. I know. I regret it. I'm glad you came back. Just don't say it again.
Understood.
I thought to myself that if anyone was going to say it, it should be me, but I kept quiet. Sarah wouldn't easily forgive. Her aim was to make him realize his faults. Afterward, Brian made promises to us. He agreed to take on some household chores and to actively participate in caregiving for his mother. He looked reluctant, but his commitment was secured. If you break your promise, you'll have to leave.
What? I have to leave?
That's right, and I won't let you take anything with you.
All right, I'll keep my promise.
He agreed, humbled for the first time in a long while. No one likes being scolded by their mother, no matter their age. I was briefly relieved. It seemed like the old him was back.
If it gets me the inheritance, it's nothing.
Brian muttered under his breath. I caught every word he said. Maybe expecting him to change his heart was too ambitious so soon. For now, that's fine. He's still in the dark, and he likely will be for many more years. I'll save the real shock for later. There's actually no inheritance left in this house, all thanks to the tyrannical father-in-law. Unbeknownst to my husband, before his father passed away, he wrote in his will that he would leave nothing to his son and then donated all his land to the local government and his savings to the Red Cross without our knowledge. This made the will's contents irrevocable. Sarah tried to intervene, but it was futile. Brian, having not claimed his mandatory share, remains unaware. He thinks all the property was inherited by his mother. When it's finally his turn, he'll find nothing waiting for him. When he discovers the truth, I plan to feign surprise right alongside him. Then, I'll relish the real satisfaction. The thrill is genuine. The savings hidden and safeguarded in the closet by my mother-in-law were handed to me as payment, leaving no inheritance for my husband to anticipate. He'll have to learn to live modestly. Now that he's promised, I hope he keeps up the effort for our family's sake. Anyone can do it, he said, so he should quickly master both housework and caregiving. Learning something new at his age, especially something he has never cared for, will be a challenge. Whenever he tried, he was more of an obstacle than an aid. Breaking dishes, spilling shampoo refills, the list of mishaps is endless. Just the other day, he caused sparks in the microwave and now refuses to use it, claiming it's dangerous. What a foolish man. Finally, he conceded, I have no talent for this, so I'm stepping down. When I heard this, I said, your father was also a man who couldn't keep his promises, which was troublesome.
Come on, don't lump me in with them.
Mentioning his father makes him more manageable. It's difficult to teach you. You need to learn faster, you know.
Oh, okay.
Don't think you can just quit. It's pathetic to give up after just a few days. Think about how long I've been at it. We still have a long way to go. While having the handrails installed, we also updated the floors to eliminate steps and ensure smooth wheelchair access. Use it well, said Sarah, and I paid for it with the money I received. Although he was initially against it, experiencing life as a caregiver has shown him how much easier it is with handrails.
Should we also remodel the bathroom? A motorized bed would make things easier, right?
Next time, he'll pay. He won't have grounds to complain anymore. Now, after all this, my husband suddenly wants to cancel the divorce. But that's a problem, because the divorce papers were never filed. You can't undo what hasn't been done. We never even wrote it down. I thought it was clear that the divorce hadn't been processed, but the shock of me leaving must have muddled his memory. In my current role, he probably sees me as a live-in employee. But I have no intention of enlightening him. This arrangement suits me better. If I return to the role of his wife, he might start treating me harshly again, like a maid or something owned. I can't let that happen again. I still don't trust this man. Besides, if we were really divorced, what if something happened? I'm not ready to give up my responsibilities or rights. I won't abandon my family. For now, my husband is like an apprentice, still learning. I am the boss. My old-fashioned husband understands hierarchies better. It might take a while, but I'll let you know when you've earned my recognition. It all depends on your efforts.